Seriously. Welcome back to
No But Seriously, the podcast where we keep it honest, keep it real, but not too serious.
I am Anna.
And I'm Jamaica. So today, we thought we would talk about our professional lives. And just where we started to where we are now, and just some of the issues that we are dealing with now.
Yeah, I think just stuff we've encountered, and then it'll make more sense with the episodes coming up after as to what our goal is to talk about our professional lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start? Where we?
I can start. I don't know where to start. I mean, as far as like, I have my master's in social work. And after I graduated there, I did like case management stuff for people with serious mental illness, which was a lot. That was a lot. It was a lot of driving, ripping and running, a lot of being in people's houses, them being in my car. It was a lot. I did that for like a year. And then I moved to Indiana, and I did like home-based therapy with like DCFS cases or juvenile justice cases. And I only did that for like 6 months. That job was driving. I used to have to drive like an hour to go meet somebody. Like it was a lot, you know. But they gave us a car. There was perks to that job. Like, they gave us cars to use, but it was a lot of work. And then after that, I came back here, and I started working. I don't know if I should say the name, but it doesn't matter. I started working at YOS, which is a youth counseling organization in Chicago. And so I started there as a counselor / doing this like foster care program or whatever. And then shortly after I started, maybe like a couple months after I started, I think I became the team lead for that. And then I think that program ended or something happened. Maybe it ended. Yeah, 'cause I think it ended or something. And then I was just a counselor. And then maybe like not even a full year, I had applied for my license, my clinical license in social work. And then I had applied for a management position that was open. And I started being a manager there. And things quickly changed. Because, like, I am very good at my job. You know, like, I'm very good. And people take advantage. Like, sometimes I hate, like, being good.
Right.
Because, like, people take advantage of that and, like, use you a lot. And so I felt very used and unappreciated, and you know, I kept asking for things to like make me to like to get me to stay. You know, I asked for raises and stuff. And for the most part I did get the raises, but then I asked for like other things. Like I was doing other people's jobs. You know what I mean?
Not just yours.
Right. Like because they were too incompetent. You know what I mean? And it was impacting my job. Mm-hmm. So like I'm taking care of this because it's impacting my job. Mm-hmm. But like you are not taking care of it, one, because you don't know how to. Which is like, and I voiced that, you know, like,
and that's like in a lot of jobs.
Yeah, I used to voice that in meetings, and like they would like upper management, like I remember one time they pulled me aside and like asked me to like talk about it specifically and like name names if I was okay with it, and I did, and like then still nothing changed. So like, what was the point of doing that?
Right.
You know, because I was very vocal, and I think that they didn't like that. You know, like, and I think that they had thought that I was leaving anyways. So like, what's the point of making the changes? And it's just like, no.
But it impacts like anybody else that's gonna take that, you know.
Yeah, I was trying so hard to stay because like I feel like it was working. I had a really good team. Like I did a really good job. You know, like I feel like it was really working. Like, but they just couldn't get it together.
If they would have made those changes, you'd still be there today.
I don't know if I'll still be there today, but I definitely would have been there longer.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I would still been there today because the money was better, but it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah. It wasn't.
It wasn't what it needed to be.
No, not for everything. Not for everything I was doing. Like we had literally created. I mean, not created, but switched to like the new like system. And like I was like the biggest person in like implementing that.
Yeah. And you knew a lot. You knew like
I knew more than the people who went to get the system. Like you know what I mean?
You knew how to maneuver it more and more efficiently compared
literally to training people on it.
That worked for that company.
Like, so I'm like, y'all need to pay me more. But y'all need to pay me more because I'm doing like multiple people's jobs, like way above like
your pay grade.
Right. But and like for the most part I would probably be like, I'm not doing that. But like it was impacting my job so much. Like I gotta figure it out. You know what I mean? I like to know stuff, you know. And I'm a very quick learner, and that like was my fault. Like because I'm such a quick learner, I got it quicker than everybody else.
Right. And
so they used that. And so I had applied for another job, and I told that job, no, I don't think I'm, you know, like they had offered it to me. I was like, second thought, like, no. Yeah. I was trying to give them a shot, you know, like I really did not want to leave. And then I think a couple more months went by, and I was like, I can't do it no more.
Like it's that time.
So I like threw out a shot in the dark. I emailed that the manager that had offered me the job, and I was like, hey, like I don't know if it's still open, like I'm ready now, basically.
You just needed to give me a week.
Basically, I'm ready now. And she's like, yeah. And so then I got that job. And I went to do that job. And that was for a medical clinic. And I was still a counselor. Just in a medical clinic, working a lot with like primary care doctors and stuff. And that job was okay. I mean, the workload wasn't super high. I only worked 4 days a week, like, and the pay was better. I liked, you know, where I was working. I was working in Austin, so that was much better. Much closer to my house. Not that YOS was super far, but closer is closer.
10 minutes is 10 minutes.
It really is. That could really change a lot.
It does.
In this city, 10 minutes changes a lot. So I did that job, and I love that job. Like, I feel like it was a great management team. Like, you know, like my direct manager and then the manager above her, like they worked so well together. They listened. They were open. So I felt like it was pretty good. I was like, you know, isolated, but I still had a team of people, you know. I got along with people that worked there. So it was good. And then management starts leaving, you know.
You're like,
so one manager left, and then the one above her left. Mm-hmm. I was like, dang, okay. But there was this other girl who was like a team lead who I was like, oh, she'd be great. You know, I hope she like steps up. She didn't. And they had asked me to be in interviews for like the director position. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay. And so we interviewed somebody, and I didn't like him.
No.
I did not like him. And I feel like they went with him because he was really like the only one, you know? And I don't like that. I just feel like keep looking because this ain't it.
They just wanted to fill the spot.
Yeah. I think they just wanted to fill the spot. And I was like, no, keep looking. You know, like I just, it felt wrong.
Yeah.
They hired him anyways. And he came in like a man in charge. Like, I don't know how else to explain it other than that. Like, he had to, like, show that he was a man in charge. And I'm like, we have a great team that works well together. Like, what we're doing is not wrong.
Right.
I mean, it's not broken. Like, it works really well. And, like, to come in and try and change everything.
When it's already, why fix something that's not broken? You know?
And I didn't appreciate the way he talked to people. And one of our team leads had stepped down from being a team leader. And I was like, that's odd. You know, like, what the hell going on there? And so once she did that, me and her started talking a little bit more. Because I think before then, I never really talked to her. You know, other than like, you know, this patient is, you know, hey, how you doing?
Like work related.
Like, yeah. But we started talking more. And she would share some of the stuff like about how he would talk in meetings and stuff. And I'm like, I never had to deal with that, so we cool. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm not in those meetings.
Yeah, like it couldn't be me, but but that you know, that don't have nothing to do with me. And so I think the problem was me and her both worked 4 days a week. And they wanted somebody to be there on a day that neither one of us was there. And we both were like, no. Like, we have other obligations. Like, this is what we signed up for. Like, you cannot make me work a fifth day. Like, you can't make me change my schedule. Like, this is what I signed up for. This is how it's been going since I started here. Like, no.
Right.
And he was just kind of mad about, like, it even being offered, like, 4 days a week, even being offered. I'm like, that's not us. You know, like...
That's an agency.
Yeah, that's an agency thing. So you need to take that up with somebody else, you know. If you want to change it for the new people, that's what we're saying. Like, the new person that you're going to hire, make them work that day. Like, we already said, make the new person work that day. And I just felt like in that meeting, he was very dismissive. I don't even remember exactly what he said. Very dismissive, talked down to me. And I was like, I had already checked out. I didn't even respond no more because I'm like, I already made my decision. I'm done with this. Right. Like, that's one thing I would not tolerate. It's like, you need to respect me. Like, you don't have to like what I'm saying, but like, you need to respect me. So after that meeting, I started looking for other places to work.
You're like, peace.
Yeah. And she was already leaving. Like, the girl, like, and we were kind of like bonded over, like, you know, how he was. And so she was already leaving, and I was like, I'm already trying to leave too. You're like, I'm on, you know, I just needed to figure out. The only thing that was holding me up is I was on a contract with the government, so I needed to find a place that would transfer that contract. So that was the only thing that I needed to find. And once I found out, I was like, deuces. And then they were like, you know, trying to understand why I was leaving or whatever. And one of the managers that was in that meeting was like, you know, I talked to him after that and told him that that was not okay. And I'm like, well, why didn't you address him in the meeting? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you felt like it was really wrong, like, I don't need to hear about a private conversation you had with him because I wasn't there. So I don't even know if you telling the truth or not. And if you felt like it was wrong, then why nobody said nothing? Right. Yeah. And I said something to him, and I just did not like that at all. And so she was like, do you want to go to HR or whatever? And I was like, no. What is that going to do? It's not going to do nothing. So no, I'm just going to leave. Like, I'm just going to leave. He's already shown me who he is, you know? And I didn't like him in the interview. You know what I mean? And so, like, this is just more reason as to why he shouldn't have this job. Like, I was just like, no, y'all can have it. And so I left that job. And then I started working for the place I'm at now, which is very similar to that job. It's at a medical clinic. The workload is a lot heavier, but the salary was a lot more. So I'm like, I switched jobs and I'm making like way more than I was making there. And so I was like, maybe there's a blessing in disguise. God was like, you need more money.
For this amount of work, yes.
So, and I've been there for like 1.5 years now. And I had been at the previous job for like 2.5 years, I think. And I was hoping like that would be my last job working for somebody, you know, because it worked. I liked it. The schedule was nice. Mm-hmm. Like the workload was okay. But I cannot deal with management like that. And then like the moment I have to start interacting with you, it's not going to work because I'm going to say something that's going to get me fired. Like, so let me just move along. And you know what's funny is like, I think maybe last year sometime, one of the managers she doesn't work there anymore. She used to work there, had reached out to me about him and said she was leaving. She was like, basically like he's still the same or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Like,
you're like, I left.
Like, you didn't have nothing to say when I was dealing with it. So, like, why would I care now? Right. You know? Like, I've been gone for, like, over a year at that point. But I just thought that was so funny. Like,
you're like, yeah, I don't think he would have changed.
Right. Like, he wouldn't. Like, that's the type of, I don't want to say that's the type of man he is, but it is.
That
like,
type of person he is.
Yeah. But it was very, like, I'm a man and I'm in charge type of thing. And I felt it from the beginning. You know? And the way he talked to me wasn't nearly as bad as he talked to other people. But I wasn't going to allow it. So, but there's that. He's probably still there. And I'm not saying the name of the place for that reason. And so, yeah, now I'm where I'm at now. And I still have problems. I feel like every job I go to, I got problems.
I mean, and that sucks, right? Because, like, you like what you do, and you want to continue doing it. Yeah. But it's, like, the adults that you work with.
They get in the way of the job. Yes. It don't be the job. It be everything else. It be everything else. Because I've liked every job I've had. Well, let me not say that. Sometimes it be the job. Yeah, but the majority I've liked where I've been. But it be the other people that be making me leave. So the clinic that I'm at has a manager that just does not listen to people. Like, she constantly cuts people off. Like, asks you a question, and then as you're responding, cutting you off. Anytime I try to go talk to her, like, cutting me off. Like, you're not even listening to me, and you're not trying to. I feel like she shows some favoritism with medical providers. And I feel like I've dealt with this before, too. Like, people respect medical doctors more than they do therapists. And I'm like, we're both providers. Right. But you treat them as, like, a better provider than you do me. Like, you don't accommodate me. You ask me to do things that you would never ask them. And we have the same role. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just do the medical stuff. I do the mental health stuff. So that is very frustrating, very annoying to me. And I'm just like, I'm getting kind of fed up. And I have been talking to my manager about it. And, you know, she's as supportive as possible. She even asked me, she was like, do you think you want to switch to another clinic? Like, we have an opening. And I was like, no, like, I think I'm going to just, you know, give it a see where it goes. Give it a try. Keep, you know, we can try and change this. She tried to talk to her about stuff, you know, like, we are making attempts. And then I think a few months go by and it's still like the same. And in fact, it's kind of worse in some ways because I'm like, yeah, it's just not a lot of support there, and the front desk don't do what they supposed to do, you know, making my job harder. Like, I already have to deal with a lot, like helping people, you know, like with like mental health stuff, like that's exhausting. So to be exhausted from that and then have to worry about like front desk stuff not helping me, you know, like you making my workload harder
than what it should
you know, and doctors don't have to deal with that, you know, like in some way they do, because our front desk is a problem overall, but like they have MAs for support.
Yeah,
I don't have that. Like, I rely on the front desk, and the manager is in charge of them. So I'm like, I'm trying to tell you what the problem is. You're not even listening because you ready to respond. You know what I mean? Like, we hold meetings and stuff, and she's just talking over people. I hate that. I hate that so much. And I'm not the only one that has a problem with her, you know? And so it's like, why is nobody saying anything? You know, like, why is nobody like doing anything about it? Yeah. So a couple months go by, it kind of got a little worse, and I was like, all right, I need to switch. So I talked to my manager. I was like, is it still an option for me to switch to another clinic? And she was like, yeah, we could do that. Let me just talk to my, manager, make sure everything's okay. And she was like, basically like, yeah, it's okay. And so even the switch is hard because obviously they don't want to lose a therapist at their clinic. So they had to have a meeting with, like, we have regions, right? Mm-hmm. And so the medical director of the region I'm in right now, to basically tell him that I was leaving to another clinic because one of the clinics I'm going to won't be in his region. Mm. And he didn't like that or whatever. But anyways, I'm still moving. But I'm not moving clinics until like the first week of July. And so now everybody at the clinic I'm at knows. And one of the doctors had came up to me and was like, what did he say? Like, why are you leaving? Or no, he didn't say, why are you leaving? He's like, is the need higher there or something? And I was like, no, it's actually, I asked for it. Mm. And he asked me why. And I said, I told him, like, all the problems I've been having, like, with the manager or whatever. And he was like, so, like, like, what would you say? Like, what would you say to her? Like, if you were her manager, like, what would be, How
would you address it?
Yeah. And I told him. And he's pretty open to it. He agreed with, like, some of the, like, front desk, issues and even mentioned another provider having the same issues, but it's not across the agency because another provider was at another clinic and never had these types of issues, So it's very, I think most of the issues that we have are very specific to where I'm at. Mm. So I am hoping that this other clinic is at least better enough for me to last as long as I'm trying to last. But I have thought about, like, just leaving altogether. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to start over somewhere else.
Right.
That starting over is...
It's a lot.
It is. And I just feel like at this point, I'm too old to keep starting over. I don't want to keep starting over. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm trying to, like, tough it out, stick it out, until I can start my own thing. But, I also need the health insurance, because if you haven't watched our last episode, I got some health stuff going on.
We cannot mess with the health insurance.
Yeah, so I really need the health insurance, and the health insurance I have at my job now is very good. Like, I have very few, like, cost to me. And so that's really good for me, especially considering how much I've been to the doctor in the hospital recently. So, like, that is very important to me. And so that's why I think I'm sticking it out even more. But then I'm like, damn, should I just go find another job that got insurance?
But that's a lot, though. Like, to even ask in an interview, like, hey, what type
of benefits? Yeah, that's like, what you ask. What type of benefits?
But, like, to be, like, in detail of, like, hey, what does insurance look like? Yeah. Like, can I actually see the handbook?
Right, because they usually don't show it to you until after. Yeah, you're right. But I'm gonna ask about them benefits.
I mean, you could, but it's just you won't know full detail.
Yeah, until but but I thought about it. Like I thought about switching because I feel like and maybe we could talk about this a little bit more after you explain where you are. But I feel like I've already been kind of quitting with them.
That's the thing, bro.
Yeah.
Hashtag quiet quitting.
I have. And I feel like I've done that with a lot of jobs. And like I know the signs. Like at this point I know when it's time to go. Because I know when I
it's
get checked out.
Right. It's a difference between burnout and quiet quitting. Quiet quitting.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah. I'm not gonna volunteer. I really ain't gonna volunteer for shit. I mean, this job, I feel like I've been like that from jump. I feel like I only came here just to finish out my contract, and so like I knew that once that was up, like I was gonna be moving on. My health issues kind of like had extended that a little bit, but
but your health comes first too.
Yeah. But I felt like it was already gonna be temporary, so I'm like, I'm not even gonna get too involved with like projects and extra stuff. Like I'm just here to get a
I'm here to do my job, and I'm gonna go home after that.
Literally, I go do my job and I leave. That is it. Don't ask me to do nothing extra. They've offered like moonlighting where you could like work extra and get extra money. I'm like, I don't even care about that.
You're like, I'm already good with my money. It's okay.
I mean, it would be nice, but I'm not doing nothing extra for y'all. Like, nothing extra.
Because that's how they get you. Mm-hmm. That's how they get you to start doing other stuff.
Yeah, I participate in meetings, but not like I have in the past, I just, like, I'm not.
Like, you're not taking initiative.
Yeah, if it's something that's really impacting, like, how I do my day-to-day, like, then I will, like, say something. Or I'll, like, respond to somebody about something. But if my day-to-day ain't disrupted by something somebody else is doing or some, issue, I don't got nothing to say. I don't got nothing to say. Part of me hates that, but, and I also don't feel like I've connected with anybody at this job either. And usually there's been at least one or two people that I connect with at every job, and I just feel like,
I think because you've had the mindset of like, I'm going to go do my job and then I'm going to go home. So it's like
I don't even want to talk to y'all.
I don't care.
Like, I've been there almost 2 years and I don't think anybody there knows anything about me.
Right. Yeah. Because of that mentality.
Yeah.
But that's very true, I think. And then the pandemic and stuff doesn't help either. Like, that plays a huge role into
Oh, yeah. I mean, every meeting is on damn Zoom.
And that doesn't help creating those relationships.
Yeah, everybody had a mask on. Like, I had been there almost a year, and I had never seen half them people's faces, so I didn't even recognize them. When they had them once off? The mask came off, I didn't even recognize some of them people.
That happens, though.
Like,
and you'd be surprised, like, if they even took it off, because some people still...
Yeah, some people still wear it at work. And I even, I wear it, like, if I have, like, a cough or something, or with certain people, I'll still put it on. I don't mean it like that, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, if you start coughing or something, like, let me put my mask on. I know what you meant,
but it was funny how it worded.
Like, let me put my mask on, because it's nasty out here.
It is.
It is nasty out here.
And it's like, some people don't, like, I don't get why we don't do this already, right? Like, in South Korea and China, like, you're sick, you wear a mask. You don't just start coughing mid-meeting, knowing that you and I both know you sick.
Yeah.
And you over here blowing your nose mid-meeting. Like, go outside and do it, bro.
Yeah. I'm definitely more self-conscious about my coughs. I was hacking up a lung one time. But it was, like, because I couldn't, like, I was, like, not choking, but, like, it wasn't, like, me sick. It was difference. Just, like, but... I just hear, like, or I just imagine everybody in the hallway hearing me cough in this room.
I had to go to the bathroom and have to cough like that. I have to.
But our bathroom, everybody can hear.
I don't care, bro. You ain't gonna see who's in there. I have to go, and then I come back, act like it's not even me. You can hear the difference though between somebody that's sick and coughs versus somebody that has whatever.
And it'd be worse. It'd be like the harder you try to stop coughing is like the more you do it. You're like, Jesus, stop.
And you're like trying to drink as much water as you can and it still doesn't.
No, some of this is bad out here. And some people be sick and people are nasty. Yeah, like I feel like I've noticed way more about people being nasty.
We talked about that. Was it? Yeah, no, it was with you. We had a conversation of like how guys just go to the bathroom and then they like, piss. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes. And then they don't wash it. We getting off topic.
Wait. No, I got to get this off my chest real quick though. Okay. So yesterday, and for all I know, this might be on TikTok already. I don't know. But yesterday, I took my dad out for Father's Day to eat. And we were right where that Dollar Tree is, right on Archer. And I think it's Damon. Like where we're like.
Oh, yeah. Where Huck Finn is at?
Right. Yeah. So there was that seafood restaurant there. Mm-hmm. So my parents were going to that Cermak that's across from Huck Finn. So me and my sister pulled out of the seafood place and we were going to go pick them up there because they had walked it. As we're going in the Huck Finn parking lot, okay, my sister does a U-turn to go through. I turn around and my sister's like facing this person, okay? Mm-hmm. This person, I kid you not, Jamaica, is walking and pissing. It is a dude, okay?
Like he couldn't even stop.
But wait. So he's walking, has his hand on his dick to piss, right? Mm-hmm. He has a piece of bread on the other hand. He's walking, literally pissing, and he's chewing at the same time, okay? I'm like, what?
Dudes to be doing stuff like that.
I'm like, dude, it is midday. It is 1 p.m. What is you doing? And then
why can't you just stop?
Why could you go in the alley? Like, and then the dude, like, there was this dude coming out of the restaurant. He just like going off at him. Put that thing away. That is not the thing to be doing in the parking lot. And the guy, as he's chewing and doing this, he's just nodding. Like, and I'm like,
the funny part is I was just at Huck Finn.
I'm like, what? So then my sister looks at me. She's like, I'm so sorry we had to see this. And I'm like, you didn't know it was going to happen. Right. And then we like picked up my parents and then we're telling them. And I was like, we got to go, bro. We got to go.
Dude, dudes be nasty. Yes. They don't be washing their hands after they done touch their pissy. Oh my gosh.
I had to get it
understand that. And like, what is with that shake? Like,
at the end?
Yeah, they just shake it and then that's
they don't wipe it or nothing. They just put it in the pan. And you expect me to do stuff with it later? No. We know. You better go shower. No. We're not about to do this, y'all.
Oh, that's such a mess.
It is. Like, oh my God.
We just got so off topic with that.
But it was necessary though.
Yeah. People are nasty. They are. And so, I mean, that's, been part of, the problem that I've had, like working with people. It's because, especially when I had that job, like as a case manager and people in your car and stuff, you have to worry about, especially here, worry about bed bugs. Oh my God. I remember one time I found out one of the people that was in my car from that day had bed bugs. I was like, oh God. When I tell you, I cleaned the hell out of that car, and I had to take my clothes off. I lived in an apartment building at the time. I took my clothes off in the hallway because I was like, ain't no way I'm going inside with this stuff on.
We were at my current job, we were at a training, and I had seen some, like we were all sitting on a table, right? I had seen some
it's
crawl.
Making me itch.
I had seen some crawl, and then I'm like, is that a bed bug crawl? Like, it's crawling on my notebook as I'm trying to think, is this a bed bug? I'm like, what? And then it hid in like, so I'm like, get this out. So then I'm like, and people are like, what is, and then I'm just like trying to do it as like, as a presenter, like presenting. So then it finally comes out. And then I like kill it, right, with like the piece of napkin, and blood comes out, and I was like, it was a fucking no way, that's not one, right? So then I'm sitting there and I'm like, I still got an hour in this training.
Oh shit, somebody got bed bugs in there,
right? So I'm like, oh my God. So then we left, and I didn't drive there. My coworker drove us to and from the training. So I got in the car and I said, look, I said, I'm not saying I have any or that any of y'all do, but I saw one in the meeting.
I'm not saying you got bad butt, but it was something on my note.
So if I were y'all, I would throw your clothes in the laundry when y'all get home because I'm gonna do it because I'm not about to have them. I was like, no.
Dude, this things is hard to get rid of.
They are.
Like, once you got it,
Right. So
throw the whole apartment
so I was
away.
like, you better clean this car. You better put your clothes in the dryer. Like, no. So then that happened. And then like 2 weeks after or 3, I don't even remember, we went back again to that same place for the training. And I kid you not, I see an animal crawling on the floor. I stepped on it. Blood came out. And I said, that's another bed bug, bro. That's the second one in this place. Luckily, that was
making me eggs.
I'm like, luckily that was our last like training there. So I was like, but then I was driving that day. So I was freaking out on the way home. I'm like, oh Lord.
It's in my car.
I was like, no.
Dude, it is scary.
I threw my whole bag in the dryer, bro.
You gonna scare somebody? You tell them you got bad.
They're so hard to get rid of.
That shit will scare anybody. It's so hard.
But I agree. I had a job because I used to work an agency that wasn't directly DCFS but worked with DCFS. So yeah, same thing. I had to pick up clients. I had to go in their in their houses, and you don't know what the environment is.
You don't know what the hell you walking into.
Or you don't know what you're gonna, like, not saying like what you're gonna pick up, but you don't know in what situation they're in that you're gonna that's gonna be in your car. So that was like my biggest thing too. Like, I'm like, bro, like,
part of me liked it. Like, I liked, the spontaneity of it, but also, like, you have to deal with so much more, like, danger. Like, when I did that job, I have stories for days from that job. And, like, I worked with so many people that was, like, addicted to heroin. And there's this one guy I remember. He would just be drooling so bad. But the heroin drool, it don't ever drop.
Right.
It don't ever drop. And he was in my car one day, and it was drooling. And I was like, if that shit drop on my car,
like, I'm gonna be mad.
If it drop on my carpet, I'm gonna be so mad. And then another time, like, I was going to pick up somebody in, I don't even know where it was at, but probably Garfield Park or something. I was going to pick them up, and I pull up, and he about to fight somebody with a bat. Then they both pull out bats. I was like, let me get up out of here.
Where'd y'all get bats is my question.
Let me get up out of here. I'll catch you another day. You know what I mean? I'm not. And then they right by my car. If somebody hit my car, we gonna have a problem.
Oh man.
So I mean, it's just like so much like you run into with that. And oh my gosh. And just going into people's houses, you don't know if they got rodents, roaches. Nothing. Like there were so many houses I'm like, I can't take nothing in with me. Because if something crawl inside something, I ain't taking nothing but my phone. That's it.
I would just take a notebook and my phone. That's all.
Yeah, but it's just like I remember one time. So it was like it was a team that I worked on at that job. A team of case managers, basically, is what we were. I mean, we had a different title, but that's pretty much what we were. And there was one client who was getting I think evicted, and needed help cleaning her place out. And when they would come and tell me some of them stories about, I was like, I can't go in there. I will quit this job if I go in there.
You know what that reminds me
of? And there
of?
was just like roaches everywhere.
That reminds me of like that TLC show, like The Hoarders.
Oh yeah, she was definitely a hoarder. And I had been in her house. And like, like she had room in the living room, but like, the kitchen was nasty. Like I knew it was nasty, but like I wasn't gonna go clean it out. You know what I mean? And like,
bless those that do.
Yeah, like I'm just going in there with my phone. I'm only gonna be in here for a hot second. Most of the time I wouldn't even go in there. And if I did go in there, it was for like something important. But when they said cleaning her place out, I'm like, no, I'll take every other client we got, like, but y'all go do that. And like, they would come back and tell it, like they would be cleaning out, and then like roaches would be crawling on her, and she was just, it was like no big deal. And I'm like, that's making me itch. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. So shout out to all the case managers.
Right, that do that, because
we walk into some crazy stuff.
Right. And the thing is, like, you don't know what, like, until you open that door is when you know what you're walking into.
Yeah, because a lot of time it's the first time you're meeting them.
That just sucks.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely learned a lot from that job, just about like mental health and everything. So like I feel like that's the job I honestly learned the most from. Because when I took my like licensing exam, I feel like I knew most of that stuff on that exam because of that job.
Because you were on the field already.
Yeah. That job helped me answer. Like, I feel like I studied for that. Well, one, I barely studied, but I feel like I studied, but nothing I studied was on that test. Everything I knew was from that job. So I do appreciate that, and I'm glad I did work there. And sometimes I do miss it, because I miss like the action. You know,
I do miss being out on the field.
Now I'm in a room with people all day. You know, it's just, and it be action, but it don't be like that type of action.
Right.
You know, and you know, I love like being a therapist, but sometimes I'm just be like, I don't want to do it no more.
I've been there. Sometimes I've been like, can I just go to like HR or like...
Yeah, sometimes I'd be like, let me just do like compliance or something. I'd be like, I just want to take a break, you know?
It's a lot.
But I do be worried, like, if I take a break, then I won't go back to it. And I know that's probably not true, but I do be worried about that. But I've been thinking hard about it. I think in the last year of like just taking a break from it.
I think it's a lot harder now after the pandemic. I think because people were inside their homes for so long, a lot of things just came up, and you know, more people are seeking services.
So much. I mean, I feel like therapy is just like such a like trend right now. You know,
like one, an actual trend, and two, like people are actually seeking the services, and they're getting younger and younger too that are needing the services compared to before the pandemic. And that takes a lot on, like, that's a lot for people, like for a therapist to sit and like hear and just take it all in and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Especially in community mental health, like it is so hard because like these people really don't have like much other options, and they get so upset with like the wait times and like you know how far apart the appointments are. But I'm just like, it's so many people that need it. It
is, and there's so many wait lists and stuff.
Dude, so many wait lists. I'm like, you are lucky that you're getting in with me in a month, because like Metropolitan got like 9 months waiting list to get on the list. It's 9 months. Like, you know, like it's crazy.
And then the communities that we've worked in, you know, there's no services, right?
There isn't. There
you can
really
choose
isn't.
from like 3, you know, and those 3 might have wait lists already.
Yeah, there really isn't, and it just becomes so much more apparent when you, when you are transitioning from a position and you're trying to get people connected to stuff. Like, it's so much more apparent that ain't nothing out there,
right?
You know.
I work now at a school. My title is youth intervention specialist, but I do a lot of that, like connecting them to services. So based on behavior, I then, you know, bring this up to our behavioral health team at the school, and then we talk about, does this kid need counseling? Does this kid need more? You know, does this kid need an IEP, or does it need all of the above? And one of the things, I work at a middle school, so one of the things that I've seen recently is substance use, and the younger that they are. Like I've had 5th graders with vape pens. And sometimes they don't even know if there's, you know, marijuana in it, or if it's just the nicotine ones. So then it's like, okay, if it is marijuana, then do we need substance use counseling? And you know how hard it is to find substance use counseling in the area that I'm at? All I have is Pilsen Wellness Center.
Yeah, and they're not good.
That's all I have. No,
I hate referring people to them because I know that they're not good, but like,
that's
I don't have another option.
Right,
yeah.
That's all I have. There's no other place in the area that I can refer them to. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is the only place I got for you. And it's not even that close, you know?
Right, that too.
And I'm like, and then that's also like the follow-up, right, from parents, which is what I dislike about it too. Like, I'm like, I wish there was a way where I can just help with the referral already so that, you know, they can just call and like, okay, you have an appointment, blah, 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 versus waiting on the follow-up from the family members, because I'm like, there usually isn't.
Yeah, they don't follow up.
And then I'm like, it's going to be a hard road for them to get to where they need to be, but you're also making this longer by not following up.
And I don't know what the fix is. I mean, obviously the fix is more services, but also you got to have people to like do the services, you know, and most people don't want to do community mental health.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. So that's been hard.
Yeah, so then you get all the, you know, freshly graduated people, but then after a year or two, they ready to move on, you know? Yeah. That's how long people last. I mean, people don't last long in community mental health. I think the average is like 2 years. Or it used to be. I don't know what it is now, but it used to be like 2 years.
Because it's a lot.
It is. It's like a high caseload volume and like
a low pay.
It'd be high needs cases too. Right. And then the paying, you know, is great. You know, I'm surprised I make as much as I do, you know, here. I mean, and it shows some appreciation, but I'm like, I still could be making more, you know. And even, you know, the doctors be impatient about the wait, you know. And I'm like, it's at least 12 of y'all. It's one of me.
Right.
You know, and every one of y'all got people y'all referring to me. Like, why is that not clicking?
Yeah.
So I'm taking referrals from all of y'all, from other clinics, you know, and it's just me.
Right.
And you wondering why they got to wait a month?
Right. I'm dealing with that, not to the extent that you are, but I'm the only like youth intervention specialist at my school. And once this job is very, very new to CPS, so not all the schools have me, I guess. But yeah, they refer kids to me, and I'm like, you know how many kids we have at this school, y'all? You know how many teachers refer to me? It is not my fault that I didn't get back to you within 2 days, bro. Yeah. Like, as much as I want to, I can't. Sometimes there's a crisis in the school. I have to go help in that crisis. Right. Like, I'm like, I can't get to everything at once. Or they're like, did you call the parent? I was like, yes, I left a voicemail, bro. That's all I can do right now. Like, I can't do everything.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, people need to understand what's urgent and what's not, because everything ain't urgent. Just because you want them to be seen soon doesn't mean they're urgent. You know what I mean? If everybody's sending me these urgent people that are really not urgent, then that messes up like the actual people that are urgent.
That need it, right? Yep, that's another thing. Man.
So it's, you know, it's crazy. You know? And even doctors be having long wait times.
I think just overall, anything health related, there's just wait lists. You know, even to get like a surgery, there's wait lists. And now,
yeah, it's exhausting. So, but that's where I'm at now. Hopefully, you know, I mean, I do plan to start my own practice, but you know, other things have taken a priority. So, yeah, that's me.
For me, it's much shorter. I haven't been graduated not too long ago, or it feels like not too long ago.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
I know, but I don't count because of the pandemic, man. That took like 2 years, 3 years for me. I worked right after I graduated. I worked for an agency that worked with DCFS. So I was a case manager. So I did the court hearings, I did home visits, I planned visits for the parents and the minor, and I did home visits to the foster parents and the parents, and helped, with services, made sure that they were going to, counseling, made sure that they were doing their substance use counseling for the parents and things like that. I lasted a year there because it was a lot for me. Especially I think it was just very heartbreaking for me, and I think the one day I went to go pick up a kid from the foster parent, because the foster parent, we couldn't have the kid there anymore. Mm-hmm. And they just seen the kid crying, and then the very stereotypical, like, they have a garbage bag with their clothes, I think that was like the moment where I'm like, bro, like, seeing the kids cry in my car with their garbage bags, I was like, I can't.
It's a lot.
It is. I was like, I think at that moment I was like, I can't do this, know? And especially knowing the majority of them are Black and brown, kids. I think I was like, I can't, like, and then showing up to like a safety placement, where the family's white, and like now you have a Black or brown kid, and like, here you go, like, and then the kids are like, what, like, I'm just gonna be here, and I was like, you kind of, and explaining that, and the kids, who
live completely different than
right, and in a different community. Like, I've had to drive an hour to go visit foster parents before, and I'm like, bro, this kid like just changed schools, like, it's probably the only Black or brown, kid in a majority of white.
I can't imagine what that's like to be like taken, and just had put into a white household and have to live.
Right. It was like, I was like, I can't. And like, as much as I wanted to help, right? And then seeing that some parents just did not want to help themselves. I think that was hard too, because I'd be like, bro, I want to slap you right now, because like, you need to get it together. Like, these are your kids and they want to be with you and they love you. Like, how are you not seeing what I'm seeing, And then, like, going to the court hearings and, like, the judge yelling at me. And I'm like, bro, like, this got nothing to do with me. Like,
it's got nothing to do with me. It's above me now.
Like, I'm like, what do you want me to do, And then not only the judge, but then, like, the mom's lawyer or the dad's lawyer yelling. And I'm just like, bro, I just graduated, y'all. Like, so that was a lot. And I was like, I can't. They gave me a 1-year certificate. I gave them the 2-week notice that same day. I was like,
let me just get to my 1 year.
Yeah, like, let's just exchange. And I wanted to quit 6 months in, but
I had to make it to that year.
Right. I had a mentor, and, she reminded me, and she was like, just make it a year. She's like, it would look so much better on your resume if you make it a year. I know we're at the 6-month mark, but just try to make it.
Here's your certificate. Peace.
Literally, though, I sat back down at my desk and I was just like, oh man, I don't even know.
That's hard. I couldn't do it. I mean, I used to do when I worked in Indiana, I did like supervised visits, but they weren't always, like bad cases. Like sometimes it would be like a parent just finding out about a kid and like just wanting to like help develop that relationship. But or I would take kids to unsupervised visits, but that would be it pretty much.
No, I think the worst case that I read, because this wasn't my case, like I had to read a part of my training. The baby had like broken ribs and stuff. And I'm just like, bro, this is hard to read, like I can just imagine, seeing the baby or meeting the baby. I had one case where, the baby had like 3rd-degree burns and stuff. So that was pretty hard to just work with the family and that,
That's a hard job.
Yeah, like props to everybody that does it.
Yeah, for real, because it's hard.
But yeah, like I give props to, those workers and also to the ones that do the investigation, having to ask the kids, like, especially if there was like sexual harassment, or they were sexually assaulted, like asking questions and stuff, like that's hard. So props to y'all.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went to YOS.
Yeah.
And then
why did you leave YOS? Or what did you think about YOS?
I mean, I liked what I did. I truly enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I liked the environment that we had. I know we had talked about this before. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, it was far for me.
Yeah.
Like I was far. Like that when we worked from noon to 8, like, oh, okay, cool, I don't care, you know. Yeah. But that 9 to 5 on that Friday, the traffic going and coming, I hated it. Like I was like, I can't do this.
That 9
anymore.
to 5 was bad.
Yeah, like I was like, I can't. Like I didn't mind leaving work, you know, at 5 on a Friday, but it was just the traffic going back home. Like I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I think the transition between certain people leaving, certain people coming in, like that was just like, I was like, I can't work with some of these people, y'all. Like,
we had a good
initial
good environment. Shout out to everybody that was on our team.
Yeah, but when things started switching, I was like, this is a lot. Like I don't, you know. Mm-hmm. But I agree. I think we had a good team overall. But once things started switching, I was like,
yeah. And that's part of the reason I didn't want to leave. One, because the team was good, but also, like, I was like, I know as soon as I leave, this is going to be, like,
right. And a lot of people, a lot of people started applying. A lot of people started leaving. And then that's when things were changing. And I was just like, And I would have stayed another, year or two just because I wanted to go back to school. But then I was just like, am I going to be that broke? Because pay wasn't the greatest. And I know going back to school was going to cost me money. Yeah. And then I was going to have to do an internship. And I was like, it's going to be a lot. I'm going to be broke. So I was like, let me see if I can find something that I can somehow work with and, just try to get back to school and figure stuff out. Mm-hmm. And I think that's when my friend had told me about working for CPS. She has the same job she has the same position that I do. She had explained it to me what she was doing, but then now I learned that she wasn't doing the job. So I was like, oh, great. Like this sounded so much prettier when you were saying it. But then I found out she wasn't even doing the position. Yeah. And I didn't find that out until I started doing the work.
And you know, like, this ain't what you said.
Right. I was like, I'm over here doing circles. Why are you not doing circles? You know. But then I transitioned over there. The pay was better. This school is like 8 minutes from where I live, like super close. Hours are, 7:45, 3:45, and it's only 8 minutes away. Like I'm home like right away. Yeah. And I like what I do because it was a struggle. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie. I was 2 weeks in, and then strike happened. So I'm like, I don't know none of y'all, but we on strike. We on strike together though. Do I know why? No. I didn't know I was getting paid either until like somebody had told me, they're like, you're not gonna get paid during the strike, and I was like, what? Like I was like, I just started.
I didn't even sign up for this.
Right, like and they had to explain to me like you can't cross the picket line, and they had explained to me all this stuff, and I'm just like,
they don't play about that,
right? Yeah. So I was like, sure, like I guess they didn't even like. I kid you not, it was the point where I didn't even know what time I had to be at the school, bro, for the strike. I was like, I'm just gonna show up, Yeah. But luckily, like I was friends with or I knew like 2 people there, so they would keep me updated, like, hey, we're gonna be there at 9 a.m. or whatever. And then that's when I realized the environment that I was going into. Mm-hmm. A lot of staff members would come up to me and be like, oh, so you're the new YS? And I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, like you're gonna get all the bad kids and blah blah. Right. That was like the same, right. And I'm just like, I don't see them as bad kids. And she's like, oh, well, you haven't met our kids and blah blah. And I'm just like, hence now I realize that the previous person before me and the students that were there, there was a lot of behavior issues, which I can see their perspective, but also like I didn't like the language they were using. And then that's when I was starting to realize, like, bro, I'm at a school where a good chunk of you teachers are brown or, not many, are Black women, but like, I was like, I know, like, we have at least 2 or 3. So in my head, I was like, okay, great. Like, at least some of our kids see representation, right? But then as soon as they started talking, I was just like, oh, no, you is a you just not what I thought you were gonna be.
You're not black.
I was like, what is, like, I'm like, okay. And then, that's when I started to really realize where I'm at. Not to say that everybody, is bad at the school, no, or that I don't get along with everybody, no. Things have changed. So I think when I started, it was a strike. We went back in November. Then December was winter break. We come back from winter break. And then it's the pandemic. Then we are virtual. Then we are half virtual, half in person. And then we had our full year of kids coming back. And that year, I want to say, was the hardest. There was crisis after crisis after crisis, what felt like just back to back to back. And at that point, I was like, I'm about to quit. Then I got COVID at one point, and I was like, then I heard the stuff that was going on at the school, and I was like, no, maybe this is my time to go. But I do say the behavioral team that we have now, I'm very close to them. I really enjoy, what we do. And I think when the school counselor, the previous one, I could say I didn't have a relationship with her. I actually saw her last week or 2 weeks ago. She looked at me. She was like, oh, you're still there? Basically, I didn't think you were still going to be there. And I was just like, okay. I guess I was like, yes, I'm still there. And she's apparently an AP now at another school, is what I understood. But I didn't have a relationship with her. I don't think I ever saw her come out of her office, and she was a school counselor. And I'm just says a lot. Right, But once again, I only saw her for a short period, so I don't know.
I be thinking sometimes, should I go work at a school? Then I'll be like, damn, that caseload.
Well, I mean, it depends, right? I don't know. It's a lot for a school counselor.
Right. If it's just one,
Yeah. Our school counselor does more of the high school applications, which is not that it's not a lot. It's a lot. But they do that versus carrying a caseload.
Yeah.
They do a lot of that. And then they lead the behavioral health team. Their caseload is more just checking in here and there with certain kids. Versus the clinicians that we have from other agencies,
Yeah, but I even think about that because that would take me out of constant therapy mode.
Yeah. And they did more. At least the school counselor we have now, she did more of the home visits for truancy and stuff. But yeah, that's where I'm at now. I do want to go back to school, so looking into it. To see if maybe I can take some summer classes. But just with this whole pandemic thing, it just
that was a big transition.
Just changed everything, and I was like, great, all my plans.
A job, yeah.
All my plans were just all over the place. So, we had our resident principal at the school, and she's really pushing for me. She low key was like, once you get your master's, I'm gonna come get you, and you're gonna work at the school I'm at. Is what she was telling me, and I'm like, hey, So she was really pushing, and she kept reminding me, did you look? Have you looked at schools? Every time she
you
saw
should
me.
Look.
Yeah, no, she was pushing me, She added me on Facebook yesterday. She was like,
oh, she's on it.
She is.
Make sure she do it.
So I'm, when she left, I was like, I'm glad you pushed me, because I'm like, if you weren't pushing me, I probably wouldn't have looked into schools, And then I got inspo from my cousin Claudia, her graduating, getting her master's.
Shout out to Claudia.
Yeah. I was like, if she can do it, and, she was working and doing all of this, I'm like, why can't I do it? So she inspired me to start looking into that. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
It could be done.
Yeah, hopefully soon. We'll see.
Yeah, so I hope I like this new clinic that I'll be in a few weeks.
You can give us an update.
Yeah, I better like it. No, I'm hopeful I'll like it. One, the population is different. Two, the staff makeup is different. And that matters to me.
Right.
So I think I'm hopeful that it'll be, a much better situation for me to last, because that insurance is good. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we got. So with that being said, We will be trying to go live every Thursday for the month of July, just to kind of give you guys updates on some of these episodes. One specifically that we'll be recording soon. So be on the lookout for some of this.
And so, our social medias are at NBS Pod on TikTok and on Instagram.
So please go follow. We're trying to reach a certain amount.
Yeah. So we will talk to y'all in the next one.
Bye.